Take your Bibles this morning. If you turn with me to Psalm 45, find that. We'll look at that verse first. And then if you'll look at the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter number 12. Psalm 45 and Ecclesiastes number 12. February being Heart Month, I want to take these next 4 Sunday mornings. I want to bring some messages that are related around the word heart. Today we're going to look at the heart, or getting to the heart of the matter. That's a phrase that most of us are familiar with, getting to the heart of the matter. To us it means getting a grasp of the situation or finding out the problem. But we're going to get to the heart. We're going to find out, basically, it's kind of the thought or the definition behind that phrase. We find here in Psalm 45, we find the psalmist in verse 1, we find that he is trying to get to the heart of the matter. And the heart of the matter was the king's word. And I want you to look with me in verse 1 of Psalm 45. It says this, "My heart is inditing a good matter." It says, "I speak of the things which I have made touching the king. My tongue is the pen of a ready writer." The psalmist here in this verse says that he is inditing a good matter. Now when you read that verse and you look at that word inditing, what does that mean? Well, that means that he is engaged. That word means engaged. And I think we can relate to that. He says, "I am engaged in a good matter." It also means this. It means to gush, to bubble up, to be just super excited. That's what he said. He said, "Man, I'm just gushing. I'm just bubbling up to find out this matter." That's what the word indict. He says, I'm so engaged and I'm just bursting at the seams to see about this good matter. Now we know what the word indicting means. It means to be engaged enthusiastically. But what is that good matter? What's he saying here? That I'm just super excited to be engaged, to be involved, to be part of this good matter. Now that can be generic, good matter. But what does it mean here? Here's what it means. The word good matter means good word or a pure word, something that is important or worthy of our attention. So here's what the psalmist said. He said, I'm just bubbling up with excitement. I'm so enthused to be engaged in something that is good. Something that is pure and worthy of my attention. And then notice what he says in the next phrase. He says, "Then I speak of the things which I made touching the king." Now, we can relate this good stuff connected to the king. He says, I'm so engaged, I'm so excited to be involved in this that is good and pure, that involves the king, that is related to the king. He's ready. He says in verse 1, he is ready to know and to write the words of the king. He says, I can't hardly wait. I'm like a kid on Christmas morning. I'm just so excited. I can't wait to write down, to get engaged in this good matter that is related to the king. In other words, it was the most important thing in his life at that moment. Now I thought about this verse, and I thought about what it's saying here. And then I thought about the phrase, getting to the heart of the matter. Right. That's what he's doing. He said, I'm so excited that I'm going to get to the heart of the matter of the king. Now I got to thinking about that. I want to ask you a couple of questions. They're not set-up questions. They're just a couple of good questions. As a Christian, does it ever occur to us what is the heart of the matter when it comes to God? Have you ever thought about that, or asked yourself when everything is said and done, when my life is over as a Christian, what is it really going to matter? What is God really looking at? What is the heart of the matter? What is the core of living a Christian life? And then the second question is this. The bottom line of Christianity is what? The bottom line. Let's just get to the bottom line, brass and taxes, as we would say. Let's where the rubber meets the road. I'm full of it this morning. Just bear with me, okay? And when it gets going, it just comes, all right? But this is what he's saying. Here we find the psalmist. Man, he is so enthused, and so he is so engaged to be part of the thing that related to the king, to find the good matter, to write about it, to talk about it. And I wonder this morning, as we think about our king, as we think about God, when it comes to God, what is the heart of the matter? What is God concerned with that we should know? And when it's all said and done, what is the bottom line? What is this all about? Well, let's answer those questions. Turn with me to the book of Ecclesiastes. Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 12, I think gives us the answer to these two questions. Question one is, what is the heart of the matter when it comes to God? What does God really want us to do? What matters to God as a Christian? And then, bottom line, what should we be doing as a Christian? And I think Solomon penned it in the last two verses of the book of Ecclesiastes. And here it is. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Remember what the psalmist was excited about? He was excited about the good matter. Well, here we see the whole matter. Now, what is the whole matter? Fear God and keep His commandments. For this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. I want us to look at these two verses this morning, because I think these two verses lays it out. I think it tells us the whole matter. And I think it gets to the heart of the matter that is really important to God and what should be really important to us. I want us to look at these verses, and I want to share three thoughts with you. And if you'll listen fast, I'll preach fast. I know it's Super Bowl Sunday. We're super excited. I'm not for either team. In fact, I wore my Browns. I'm one day the Cleveland Browns are going to be in the Super Bowl. I just know I'm on. You laugh, but a few years ago the Rangers made it to the World Series. You didn't think that was going to happen. All things are possible. So I know it's Super Bowl and we've got things going. So if you'll listen fast this morning, I'll try to get you out of here in super record time. All right? All right. Here we go. First thing I want you to see. Notice in verse 13. Let's hear the whole matter. Hearing the whole matter. If we're going to find out what is the heart of the matter, it probably makes good sense. We better listen and we better hear what is the whole matter. Here's what God says. And here's what we ought to do. We ought to hear it and we ought to put it in our hearts. So we're trying to find out what is the bottom line to Christianity. What really matters to God. Here it is. God is going to say it. And God has put it in writing. And now you and I this morning need to put it in our hearts. What is it? Two things. Number one, fear God. Amen. And that word fear means moral reverence. Can I just break it down in just simple old terms? Have enough morals to respect God. And God knows our country needs that today. Amen. Just have enough morals to respect God. You may not follow God, and you may be a follower of God, but you ought to have the morals and the decency to be respectful for God. That's what it's saying here, to fear God. Now, as a Christian, it goes deeper than that. It also means to reverence. It means to stand in awe. It means to be fearful. Not that I'm afraid of God, but I'm fearful because God's higher than me. I am not the creator. I am His creation. And the very breath that God puts into me, God can take that very breath out of me.
Right.
I understand that. And that allows me to have a respectful fear, a moral fear, to respect God for who He is. That's what He's saying here. He said, I want you to put in your heart. I want you to put it in the heart where the seat of your emotions, the seat of your knowledge. I want you to put in your heart that what really matters to God is that you fear me, that you respect me, that you have morals when it comes to who I am. And then here's the second thing. He says, not only fear God, but keep His commandments. The word commandments here means precept or law or ordinance or order. And we know today that the Bible that you hold in your hand, this is God's order. This is God's law. And as a Christian, this is our guidebook. This is our rule book.
Right.
This spells out to us what we should be doing and what we shouldn't be doing. Right? I mean, it's plain. There's no gray areas. It's really just black and white.
Right.
And this is God's commandment, that we fear God and we keep His word. Here's what Deuteronomy 10:12 says. Deuteronomy 10:12 says, and now, Israel, what doth the Lord thy God require of thee? And see, that's what we're trying to find out this morning. We're like the psalmist. Man, we're wanting to know this whole matter. We're wanting to know what is really at the heart of God, what really matters. Well, He told Israel back in Moses' day, here's what matters. He says, what does God require of thee? Number one, fear God. Notice, but to fear the Lord thy God, to walk in all His ways, and to love Him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul. Now, Solomon didn't use that many words, but that's pretty much where he put fear God and keep His commandments. God says this is the heart of the matter. All right, look in Joshua 24, verse 14. It says, now therefore, fear the Lord and serve Him in sincerity and in truth. So here we are this morning. What is the matter of Christianity? What is the heart of the matter? When it's all said and done, what is Christianity to be? Well, God says, here it is. And I want you to put it in your heart. And that is to fear God and to keep His commandments. That's what I want you to put in your heart. That's what I want you to hear. That's what I want you to know. He said, I want you, out of moral respect, have a moral respect of God, and to order your life around my commandments. That's what I want you to put in your heart. That's what I want you to hear. All right, there's the hearing. Let me give the second point real quickly this morning. Look with me, go back to Ecclesiastes 12:13. In order for us to know the whole matter, we've got to hear it. And God says, here it is. Put it in your heart. Fear me and keep my commandments. All right? Number two. Now that we've heard the whole matter, now it is time that we honor the whole matter. Look what verse 13 says. Let us fear, or let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. All right? Put in your hearts, fear God, and keep His commandments. Now, I want you to honor the whole matter by putting your heart into it. Notice, for this is the whole duty of man.
Right.
What is the whole matter? Fear God and keep His commandments. God says, I want you to put that in your heart. That's what I want you to hear. That's what I want you to know. That's the whole matter. Now, I want you to honor that. Now that you know it, now that you've heard it, now that you put it in your heart, now I want you to honor that. I want you to put your heart into it to live it. Can I tell you this morning, it's one thing to hear and do. difference between hearing, and there's a big difference between doing. God says here, I want you to hear. Hear the whole matter. Fear God, have a moral respect, honor me with your life, and keep my commandments. That's what I want you to hear. So I want you to tuck it away in your heart where it doesn't get lost. And then I want you to honor me. And you honor me by putting your heart into doing these two things. It says here, it is the whole duty of man. In other words, it is our business. Do you realize why you're here? It's your business to do these things. Right. As a Christian, it's my business to fear God and to keep His commandments. In fact, according to God, I have no other business but that. Right. That's my business. Now, I'm convinced of this. When I take care of God's business, God will take care of my business. That's right. I firmly believe that. So God says here, this is your duty. Before you do anything else, this is your number one duty. This is your business. Can I tell you this morning, it's the main matter. God says, this is your main matter. This is what I want you to concentrate on and to build your life around. It is your priority. But now, wait a minute. Here's the problem. If we don't put it in our heart, if we never hear it, and if we don't put it in our heart, it's going to be a real problem for us to put our heart into it.
That's right, preacher.
Why do you do the things that you do? Why do I come home every night to my wife? Is it my duty? And that's my main business. I'm taking care of business, all right? I do. It's not out of duty. Oh, I got to go home. Oh, one more night. Oh, Lord, help me. I don't do that. I do it because that's where my heart is. And I put my heart into that. It's like any other relationship, like anything else we do. Let's be honest, if our heart's not into it, we're not going to do it very long.
That's right. That's right.
We're going to do it for a while, we're going to get bored and moved on. That's why half our marriages end in divorce.
That's right. Amen.
We've got to put our heart into it. That's why people are in and out of church. We're going to put our heart into it. Right. That's why people serve and they don't serve. Because it's a heart matter. God says, I want you to put this in your heart, fear me, keep my commandments, and now I want you to make it your duty. I want you to put your heart into it. I want you to do it out of your heart. Now, what comes out of our heart? I know a lot of things do, but what should come out of our heart? Love. Love ought to be the motivating factor of fearing God and keeping His commandments. Here's what Paul said, for the love of Christ constraineth me.
Amen.
It's my love for God that makes me do this, and I want to do it. It makes my duty easier, my business easier, my priority a lot easier. Here's what 1 John 5:3 said. For this is the love of God. You want to know if you love God? And what is the love of God? That we keep His commandments. And His commandments are not grievous. Can I tell you this morning, God's commandments, God's way of living is not grievous. In fact, I'm like Tony the Tiger. It's great. Man, it's great to serve God. The benefits that come and the blessings that come. And here's what God is saying. He said, listen, if you want to know really what Christianity is, hear it. It's fearing God and keeping my commandments. You want to know what your duty is? It's now to put your heart into it and do the best you can to live out those two things. Keep a moral respect of God, know who God is, honor Him, respect Him for who He is, and then live by His commandments. That's your duty. And when we live out that duty, we're honoring God. We've gone from just hearing to now honoring God. But then there's a third thing. And this is, we can't lose sight of this. Look at verse 14. Go back to Ecclesiastes 12, verse 14. We hear the hearing of the whole matter. That is, put in our heart, fear God and keep His commandments. We've looked at honoring the whole commandment, which means to put our heart into it, or we won't do it. Let love be that motivating factor. And then here's the third thing about the whole matter, is that one day we're going to hand this whole matter over to God.
Well, that's right.
Look at verse 14. For God shall bring every work into judgment, whether it be every secret thing, whether it be good, or whether it be evil.
That's right.
God says, put it in your heart. God expects you to put your heart into it. And one day God is going to inspect it. And when that does, when that day happens, it's going to affect your heart. Your heart's going to be full of joy because that was your life. That's how you lived your life, and you was faithful to it. Or your heart is going to be broken one day when you stand before God. You're not going to have anything to show for it. One day we're going to hand our life over to God. Our life as a Christian. We're going to give an account. And I want to tell you this morning, this stuff matters to God. This whole thing that we're talking about this morning, this whole matter, it really matters to God. In fact, Hebrews 6:10 says that God is not so unrighteous that He's going to forget our work and our labor of love. God's going to remember. He says here, I want to remember every good thing. Now, unfortunately, God's going to remember every evil thing. But God is going to judge me, and one day He's going to judge you on how you took the whole matter, how you responded to it, how you lived it. Did you fear God? I think one of the questions when we stand before God, because He said this is the whole duty of man. This is the whole matter. So I think when we stand before God, God's going to judge us. Did we really fear God?
That's right.
And then He's going to judge us on, did we keep His commandments? He's going to find out that day if they were a priority to us or we just played around with them.
That's right.
And whatever they were to us, if they were a priority, man, our heart is going to be busted with joy that we can stand before God and say, Lord, I did my best. But if we just play around with them, we don't take God seriously. If we just play down, wow, I wonder what our heart's going to feel that day. I wonder how we're going to feel.
That's right.
So you want to know the whole matter? The whole matter is really simple. Here, put it in your heart. And it's fear God, keep my commandments. You want to know what we ought to be doing? The Bible says every day we glorify God. What better way than to glorify God than to honor Him than by putting our heart into living out these two simple things. And then remember, when it's all said and done, when you're all said and done, when I'm all said and done, we're going to hand our life over to God, and we're going to stand before God, and He's going to be able to see did we really take it seriously, or were we just really playing around.
That's right.
That's the whole matter. That's getting, I believe this morning, that's getting